Today, we're going to be checking out a new preamp from Airis Effects, the Exodustortion. So this pedal, as its name might suggest, is a pedal based around Exodus's tone, and specifically Gary Holt from Exodus, who, in my opinion, has the best tone in all of thrash metal. Also, I'm just a really big fan of Exodus in general. When I was growing up and in high school and playing guitar, I was that thrash metal kid. I mean, basically, if you just picture a Slayer t-shirt, camo cargo shorts, and some Chucks, that was me. And Exodus was and still is one of my favorite thrash metal bands of all time. I mean, I still vividly remember going out and picking up Tempo of the Damned, so excited that they were back. And if anyone hasn't listened to Tempo of the Damned, that album is probably the best modern thrash metal album of all time. And if you don't think it's the best, you've at least got to think it's one of the best ever. It's such a good album, and the tone on that album is so incredibly good. And Gary's tone from there, with all the other albums that have followed up to their latest one, which is Persona Non Grata, his tone has just been consistently good, and you can immediately pick his tone out amongst other guitar players, which I think is quite a feat. So since this is based on Gary's tone, what is it trying to emulate? Well, Gary's used a whole bunch of stuff over the years. I mean, less commonly, some PV Triple X's, some Engel Savages. He's used a bunch of different Marshalls with Exodus and Slayer. I believe right now he's touring with some Marshall Jubilee amps, some Silver Jubilees. But what he's really most known for is his modded 1987 JCM 800. That's really, for me, that's the core of Exodus and Gary's sound. And because that amplifier is such a big part of Gary's sound, this pedal is very Marshall JCM 800-ish, but not just JCM 800, very modded Marshall JCM 800. It's definitely more high gain, more aggressive than a stock JCM 800. And just like a JCM 800, this thing also takes overdrive super good. Pretty basic layout. I mean, you have your volume control, your gain control, a high control, and a low control. Not much else to it. It's super easy to dial in to really get that Exodus tone. I got it immediately, and it just immediately felt like that tight, aggressive, kind of dry JCM 800 kind of sound. So that's enough of gushing over Gary and Exodus and the gear and talking about the pedal. Let's actually hear this thing inside and outside of a mix. We're going to hear this going into my KSR PA50, and that's going to be going into my Two Notes Captor Axe with an IR blend of my VM1265 and DV77 speakers, and we're going to hear it outside of a mix on that same setup. And at some point I'll also hit this thing with an Airis Effects aggressive screamer, just so you can hear how awesome it sounds being hit with a boost as well. Let's check it out. Damn, okay, it is not easy trying to play like Gary, I will tell you that. I wrote some riffs that were Gary Holt inspired, Exodus inspired, and man, it felt like my arm was going to fall off after all those takes for the in mix. But this thing nails it. Definitely, like I said, Marshall JCM 800, modded Marshall JCM 800 sounds even more aggressive and over the top with the aggressive screamer boosting the front of it. I was super impressed. I love that I have like a thrash metal JCM 800 like modded sound now just in a pedal. And of course, I mean, I love Exodus, so the fact that I can get Exodus tones out of a pedal, just that's awesome for me too. I'm gonna have a link down below so you can check this out or anything else from Airis Effects. Thanks for watching. Stay metal.